In this lesson, we'll learn how to create a custom report template. Please refer to the demonstration associated with this lesson. As was stated in the previous lesson, QRadar ships with over 1,500 reporting templates. But sometimes those templates may not meet our specific need. In order to create a new custom report template, simply go to the Actions drop-down and select Create. This will launch the interactive report wizard. The report wizard will guide you through the creation of your report. The first step is to define a schedule if one is required. You'll notice that you can create an hourly, daily, weekly, or monthly schedule. You can also select whether or not this report will just be manually run. You can also allow this report to be run on an ad hoc basis, or it's required to be scheduled. After selecting a schedule for your report, you will now decide on the layout of your report. You can choose from the portrait or landscape orientation, and then select how many divisions will appear on your report. Divisions refer to what type of search you're going to run on each section. Although QRadar allows you to have up to 6 divisions on a portrait-oriented report, it's recommended not to have more than 3 or 4 divisions. Any more than that, it'll be difficult to convey the message you're trying to get across. It's also important to consider the audience that this report is intended for. Executive level reports probably shouldn't have more than 1 or 2 divisions at most. Once you've decided on a layout for your report, you'll be brought to the Contents screen of the wizard. Here you'll define the title of the report, which logo, if you've uploaded your own logos to the reporting system, and then for each section or division of the report, what kind of chart will appear. QRadar has several high-level charts. Those are the top destination and top source IP charts, the top offenses, and asset vulnerabilities. The top destination and top source refer to attackers and victims in your environment. Top offenses will display the top threat types to the managed network. And asset vulnerabilities will display vulnerability data for defined assets in your deployment. If you wish to use a safe search, you would select event logs or flows in order to use those in your report. Initially, the chart section will be white, meaning it's an undefined section of the report. Once you define the divisions of the chart, they will turn to green. In this report example, we'll have 2 divisions to the report. In this screenshot, we're configuring the upper chart of the report. We can insert a chart title, and then we'll select the graphing type based on the search we're using. Again, we're attempting to convey a message or tell a story with this report, so we want to be mindful of how this is going to appear. If you've chosen a report to be scheduled, you'll have to select the time window of the data that you're going to be pulling from. For instance, if we're doing a daily report, as is in this screenshot, you'll notice that the data is based on n minus 24 hours. We could actually select a specific time window here as well. Looking down further to the screen, you'll see this is where we would call which safe search we actually want to use as part of this report. If there's not a search here that we would like to use, you can actually invoke the interactive search editor. Once we're satisfied with the report section, we can then move on to the lower chart. Configuring the lower chart is going to be similar to configuring the upper chart. We'll change the chart title, obviously, since we're dealing with different types of data. You can also actually change what the axes will map to. Once you're satisfied with building both sections of the report, you can go ahead and save them, and you'll notice that now the container will actually turn green on the report template section. After all the charts have been defined in your report, you'll be taken to a layout preview screen. The preview is not based on real data, but simply will show you how your report will appear. This is a good way to troubleshoot and verify this is what you're trying to get across with this report. Be aware that some of these reports may actually take a long time to generate, especially if you're dealing with large amounts of data. Once you're satisfied with the layout of your report, you can choose the format of how the report's going to be presented. PDF is the default format, although you can select HTML or RTF as well. The next screen is the distribution screen. From here, you can select whether or not the report will be made available to other users of the QRadar console. Simply select Report Console and then which QRadar users you would like to share the output of this report. You can also decide whether or not to distribute this report via email. In order to distribute a report via email as an attachment, it has to be either done in the PDF or RTF formats. Otherwise, you can just include a link back to the report console. If you want to email multiple recipients, simply separate the email addresses with commas. The next screen is where you can decide which group your report's going to reside in. Reports can be assigned to multiple groups. You may want to define a group that is specific to your company. This way you can find the reports that have been custom built. The last step of the report wizard is the verification screen. Here you can look at the title of the report, the various containers, and verify that this is how you want your report to be laid out and use the searches that you've defined. You can also decide whether or not this report should be automatically generated after you finish with the wizard. Here's an example report that was created. You can see that this is a two-division report. The upper chart shows daily firewall activity from a specific IP address, while the lower portion of the chart shows the top services and ports through firewalls. You can see that port 443 is the highest based on event count. It's important to note that when you're designing a report, you're attempting to convey a message or tell a story. There are some best practices to consider when creating your reports. You may decide to compare and contrast network flow information with information we've gathered through event log analysis. Always consider that you're trying to tell a story with this report. Always consider what is the purpose of this particular report and what am I trying to summarize. Remember, when you're selecting the format and layout of your report, don't choose a small page division, as the data from the various graphs may become muddled, and then it's very difficult to understand what is being conveyed through the report. Executive reports should probably be kept to 1 or 2 divisions at most. Now turn to your exercises guide and perform the exercises for this lesson. In this unit, we worked with the reporting subsystem built in QRadar SIEM. QRadar ships with over 1,500 reporting templates, so it should be easy to find a report template that should match your needs. Report templates can also be edited and modified to suit your needs, or you can create your own custom template using the report wizard.